Hey guys, we are the Herping Hour, and this is episode 1 of our brand new podcast, bringing you herping, husbandry, and everything in between. So before we get started and delve into anything too serious, this is just going to be a get to know me podcast. So you're going to get to know each one of us a bit in depth, what we enjoy about the hobby, what we don't like about the hobby, but nothing too serious. So I'm Nick, I'm 30, been herping for around roughly 11, 12 years. My first exotic would be classed as the African pygmy hedgehog.
Yeah.
I bred them for a while, and then I kind of left it, and then it was fat tails, leopard geckos, dragons, and other things. I enjoy husbandry and the sciences behind it. They are the top. I don't class myself as a breeder, but I class myself as knowledgeable about the science of, say, like UV heating, setups, things like that. That's what I genuinely enjoy about herping, is the science behind it all.
So I'm Stace, I'm 32. I run Lily Rose Reptiles. Prior to that, we didn't have any actual social media for a long time really, but I've been keeping reptiles since I was 15. It's quite a long time really. We've only been breeding for like the last 8 years, I think it is. Species, I keep leopard geckos, bearded dragons, crested geckos, giant butterfly agamas. They're the main ones for breeding. But to be honest, my giant butterfly agamas was more a pet kind of buy, because they was on my list of ones to have, ones to own. If they do breed, then that's obviously a plus, but if they don't, then I wouldn't be disappointed either, because like I said, there was one of the things that I wanted the most, so I'm quite pleased with that. Also, they live as a bonded pair, so it's not something, you can't really separate them as such once they've bonded, so yeah, they'll stay together. Yeah, I do heavily focus my breeding plans on, to be honest, largely leopard geckos. I've been working with them for quite a few years. Bearded dragons I've been working with for quite some time now actually, but I did get into them after I got leopard geckos. So I bred them after I started to breed leopard geckos, because I'm quite big on ethics and doing it right. I just selectively breed very, very small scale. I will only usually pair one female a year when it comes to bearded dragons, and I only pair a handful of leopard geckos as well. There's quite a few reasons for that, but the main reason being I can then put all of my attention into what has been paired, rather than, over pairing and not being able to manage myself what has been paired. So I focus quite largely on personalities of the actual reptile themselves, getting them to be used to human contact. It's nice to do it that way. Also, really interested in UV bioactive stuff. The other thing for me is I'm really, really huge on genetics. I do like to, I wouldn't say know absolutely everything, because nobody really does. There's every day is a learning day, but I do like to know what is available to know out there. If it's available to know, then I'll hopefully know it, because I've read it. I read a lot of science papers surrounding UVs and trials in different areas and that kind of thing. But for me, genetics is such a huge part of breeding really. Overall, I just love reptiles as a whole, and because I do suffer with mental health, they do help in that situation, and they're sort of my go-to place really. For me, main focus points are genetics and advancing husbandry, I guess you could call it, and also trying to, I wouldn't say push an agenda onto others, because there's more than one way of keeping a reptile, but it's better to be more natural. There are other ways, there are other options, and in fact, not just that there are other options, but it's easier than what people think it is to make something better. A lot of people would argue that it's very expensive to upgrade and that kind of thing. So I've been spending quite a lot of time working out what can be offered to make things more than just functional, and the costs involved in that for people, so that visually they're able to see that for themselves. But yeah, I think there's a broad range of things really that I'm interested in, and hopefully doing the podcast, I can bring information out there to other people with dedicated sessions to husbandry, UVB, that kind of thing, coming up with bioactive setups. And Harley's got some good examples of those that she can be showing. I think the podcast as a whole, it's nice really, because you don't really, I mean, I do tune into the Animals at Home podcast. That's quite a good podcast, but you don't see many podcasts in the UK really. And it's nice that us three have got together to co-host this one really. But obviously at the moment, this is just the intro episode. We'll be getting some structure towards what we're offering in each episode. We'll also have some cool guests as well that'll be able to come on and share their experiences with us as well. Yeah, I think I've rambled on enough actually. I'll take it over to Harley now to introduce herself.
So, hi, my name is Harley, and I obviously run Dawn of Time Exotics. I am 20, I'm 21 in September, and I am a baby. I have not been in the hobby for that long, reptile-wise. I used to be more of a mammal person, so I've only been in, this is where math comes into play, isn't it? I think this is my 4th or 5th year. Don't quote me on it, because can't guarantee. Don't even know what the day is today. So yeah, I've been in the hobby for about 4 years, I'd say. I've been breeding technically for 2 years, because I had last year off. So I technically didn't breed last year. I did have a few eggs, but I didn't actually pair anything up. So this is technically my 2nd year, even though my 1st year I rescued and had to raise babies. That was very exciting. Did not expect that, did not sign up for that either, but you know,
what was there from?
Tripod. A lot of people that follow me know who Tripod is. She was my 3-legged, 1-nostriled little grey Dalmatian female that I rescued from the shop down the road. And before anyone likes to come at me, I did not pay for her, because I know a lot of people like to scream and shout that, but I didn't pay for her, so it is technically what I would class as a rescue, not just a rehome. But I rescued her. She came with what the shop called her boyfriend, and she was probably, I'd say, 4 or 5 years old, and she was 18 grams, being bred like there was no tomorrow. She clearly had MBD. She had an underbite. She only had 1 nostril, obviously her 3 legs as well. And she laid me loads of eggs, and I was not expecting that. I did not expect loads of eggs from her, to be fair. Luckily, I'd already looked into Cresties a lot. I'm very much one of those people that does a lot of research before getting an animal. It honestly gives me a headache sometimes. But, you know, as long as they're good, I'm good. So, yeah, I took her on, split those 2 up, ended up having 3 viable eggs from those babies. Those guys actually are in really good homes that I still am able to keep in contact with, which is really nice. And Tripod grew up, had a really long life. She passed away last year in October, but she was great. She held her weight really well. She didn't lay any more eggs after that. Thankfully, she obviously was just a pet only. She was our kind of little ambassador gecko. Everyone loved Tripod. A couple of people did get to meet her. I know a lot of people were quite sad when she passed away, as was I. She was a good gecko. I miss her a lot. Her boyfriend is actually with one of my friends, who I still keep in contact with as well, which is nice. Good old Beamer. He had a great name. I was so proud of my naming skills back then, honestly. I'm so bad at it now, though. I'm so bad at naming anything. It takes like months. I don't know how people come up with really cool names. I can't do that. That just not about that. But first thing that got me into Cresties, because Cresties is the main thing I keep. So out of everything I keep, I have the most Cresties. I think next would be then Gargs. Also keep Palmyras and day geckos. And obviously, I think most people keep morning geckos now, considering they breed like rabbits. I also have a Sticky Boy, my little stick insect that lives up in my plant. He's really cute. She, technically, if you want to get technical, I call everything a boy. That is my problem. I call everything's a man to me. It's probably the worst thing, but like everything's a man to me. But yes, I keep mainly geckos. I don't keep anything that's terrestrial, even though I really, really want to. I just don't currently have the space because I love red geckos too much. Pretty much the majority of my collection is all red. I have quite a lot of red projects, orange projects, and yellow projects being my main things with cresties. Gargs being reds mainly. I do obviously have a couple oranges, and a lot of people know my good old Zuko now. Day geckos is peacocks and abotties, or Abbott's day gecko, depending on how you like to choose your names, Latin or scientific or one or the other. But yes, the first thing that got me into cresties was actually I went to college to study animal care. I used to keep a lot of mammals previously, and I do love a good bit of animal care, but the college I went to was really, really awful, and we ended up having to report them and actually get them closed down in the end. I don't actually know if I'm allowed to say that, but we're going to say it anyway because I didn't say the name of the place, so no one can say anything. Yeah, we did end up having to actually getting them shut down, me and some of my other classmates that didn't appreciate the way they were keeping stuff. We ended up going to college. I fell in love with a lot of the reptiles there, really bonded with them. Skinks, obviously classic bearded dragon, leopard geckos, and they did have a little crestie, and his name was Todd, and I absolutely loved him. He was the sweetest thing in the whole entire world. He was great, little tailless thing. He was great. So yeah, that really is what pulled me more into the reptile world. Like, I already wanted to keep them. I had family members that had kept them before, and something I really, really enjoyed and really wanted to. I had the opportunity to go and obviously pick up my first crested geckos, which were obviously Tango, who I no longer have, unfortunately, and obviously Tripod and Beamer. And the disease spread from there. As most reptile keepers know, the collection grows very fast, and I think I'm up to 40 now, which, to be fair,
did you say 14 or 40? You
40.
did say 40, didn't you?
40. 40. I wish it was 14 someday.
I think we've got 17 or 18 crested geckos.
You have such good cresties, though. Honestly, your little Dalmatian. I love
okay. Well, half of my cresties are from you.
Obviously, that's why I love them. Oh my god, Leader. Oh, I love Leader. I think Leader's one of my favourites of my original lot, because Leader was one of the originals.
She's great with humans, but she just
other geckos.
Yeah, she wants to eat.
I don't know how Crave done it. I can get him. You can speak to him, ask him your questions. I'm sure he'd be happy to answer while nomming on my finger. Don't you? I can see you looking at me there. I can see you. That's how I pretty much got into cresties. It was pretty much from college, and sort of like a kind of long-term, really, really wanting to keep some sort of reptile. But I think when I went to college, it really, really narrowed it down to cresties. And then obviously collection grew. I was able to, meet a lot of amazing people like you two. And then you got it. And obviously Gargs. I keep Gargs. Gargs are actually, believe it or not, my favourite out of the sticky boys.
I'm partial to a Garg.
You really like them.
Gargs are great, honestly.
Yeah. Really partial.
Besides Dexter currently trying to eat me continuously on the daily, but he's great normally. Like, he's the cutest thing in the whole entire world, and I'd never do anything with him, but he's really cute. But Gargs, actually Helen got me into Gargs. I really fell in love with her Dexter, who is up there, not that you guys can see, but he's up there. And I ended up buying him from Helen, which was Helen is great, honestly. Anyone that doesn't know Helen,
she's HD, isn't she?
Yeah, Helen's HD.
Oh, yeah, she is, honestly.
Or is it HD Cresties?
I think she's HD Cresties now. I think it was HD Exotics.
Yeah, it was Exotics. I'm sure it was.
Yeah. But Helen, honestly, she's great. She helped a lot. She was obviously the one that bred your Mocha. Yeah. And Amanda's Latte, who she now has. But they were one of
my Chewy off here as well, the Pet Only Chewy Ivy.
Yeah.
And I want one of every sticky foot. And I was going to get one from Apex, but I wasn't going to breed, so it's a wasted potential, especially with being a pure PI. So she put me in touch with Helen, and I was like, I really want one. So yeah, I have Ivy.
Helen is great. She cares so much about where her geckos end up. Like, it just shows everything like that she says. Like, she's great to talk to. She helps a lot. Mocha and Latte were actually the first two, I believe. Yes, first two breeder quality, hobbyist breeder quality geckos that I actually ended up getting. Because my first project that I wanted to work on was really, really dark geckos, believe it or not. That was actually my first project, but I never ended up doing that project because as I got more involved in the hobby, as I met more people, I learned about obviously reds. Anyone that doesn't know me, reds is my big thing.
It is. It's
lots of red geckos.
Trademark now.
Oh, honestly, it is. Everyone usually asks me about reds, which I'm completely happy to help people. I don't mind. If I don't have anything, I usually send them to loads of other people that I know that are really good breeders. So reds is like my main thing. I have a lot of reds. I think the majority of my collection is reds, to be fair. So that ended up being my project from the very, very start. But instead of buying full-grown adults, getting all my geckos as adults, I really, really prefer to raise them up myself. So majority of my collection is actually all raised by me. I've had it since it was like 4 grams, 10 grams, very little. And now they're all pretty much all full grown, and some of them will be breeding next year, which will be very exciting because it's very exciting watching something that you've kind of grown up, watch develop, and then you get to then watch their babies grow up, develop. It's my favorite part of breeding, I think, is that sort of watching.
I have to agree with that because to be honest, I'd say probably 85% of me dragon collection is bred by me. It is really rewarding, seeing that the pairs that I put together the last couple of years are both usually by me. So yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah. It's really nice. It's really nice to see. I wish I could have kept more of what I produced on my first year. I did have a lot of holdbacks, but unfortunately a lot of things happened and I had to give up a lot of my geckos. The only one I do have is my boyfriend's gecko Chipper. I gave Chipper to him for his birthday about 2 years ago, I want to say, and that made me be able to actually keep Chipper. So Chipper is my only holdback of my own production. I produced him. He is obviously from Craven Fanata, who is with my friend. So yeah, it's nice to be able to at least keep one of what I've produced, but I'm very excited for that day where a lot of my collection is something that I have produced myself and something I can watch grow and things like that, because obviously a lot of my geckos are from some really truly amazing breeders, but it is different when you're growing up something that you produced.
I think
that makes a huge deal.
You have to start with other people so then you can diversify your own lines, and then you're not sticking with that whole stagnant line breeding thing. So there's only so far you can go with your own. So initially to begin with, it's better to have a large pool so you can get pairs from different things, and then you're better in the genetics of your animals then, and
keep pairing down the line. Yeah, that's something. Genetics and morphs is something I really like about crested skull. See, there is only I think it's only a few, I'm not going to say a number because I'm pretty sure there's some I haven't looked into, but known genetics that you can sort of guarantee in an animal, and I find that quite interesting, the way morphs combine with each other, the possible outcomes, all things like that. I love experimenting with things like that, and having a really pretty much all my geckos are unrelated besides obviously peppercorn and chili because they are siblings. I don't pair anything that is related with each other. I like to keep it really, really separate, bring in completely new blood. That's why obviously I have Lucifer being an F2, so that's quite limited. I know none of my guys are related to his line and his parents, which he is really awesome. I do love Lauren, she's great. Yeah, I do have quite a wide range of genetics ranging from all sorts. Everyone knows that I love my lineage sheets.
Yes.
Lineage sheets.
Anyone who's listening and hasn't checked out Dawn of Time, go over there and just look at them. Look at the lineage. Look at it.
They're just so satisfying.
Yeah.
They're so satisfying to look at.
She's even done our lineage.
Yeah, I did of yours, didn't I? It's so exciting. I just love it. It's so exciting. I think I've done some for you and some for a couple of other people as well. So if anyone does want lineage done, just ask. Because a lot of how far I've got sometimes I've got 8 generations back. So sometimes, like, when people come to me, they're like, oh, do you know anything about this gecko? I just look back in a couple other lines and I have like all of their parents, and I just have to like move it across. So
literally the gecko hunter.
Yeah.
I've been able to find lineage that people have not been able to find for so long. So sometimes I feel like a proud parent when I find some new lineage. Honestly, it's great. But yeah, I do like my lineage. It's such a good thing to have. Like, not a lot of people, like, you obviously get the people that religiously love lineage, you know, hello, and then you have the people that just don't know about it, or, you know, don't care for it. And it sounds bad, but like, it shows, like, you know, it shows in what you're producing. Like, you know, it
Cresties though, everything is based on the lineage. Like like the breeder name doesn't mean as much as the lineage. So like,
well, that you saying that actually is quite funny, because what people don't realize is that lineage isn't the name of the breeder. It's the actual having photos of the parents, knowing where they come from and what they were paired. Like, that is the lineage. Like, obviously it's great. Like, if I had, say, a Crestie from you, like, I know that you guys are amazing breeders. I know that, but not everyone else might. So when I say, oh, I've got this dark pinstripe from Lily Rose, you know, oh, they're going to look at me and be like, what?
Yeah.
What's that? But being able to show, like, parents and maybe their parents' parents and all that, they're going to be like, oh, okay, you can see where the line has taken itself and where you've put your added bit into that line.
Yeah.
And a lot more people kind of can visually see where you're taking something, or even with the pairings that you go for, can see that they're well thought out, like stuff like that. So it's not always to do with the name, even though, like, say for instance, Louise at Apex, she's amazing. I love that woman. She's great, but not everyone may know her name.
No.
And she has some gorgeous geckos. And having the photos to see wherever that gecko has come from gives you a better idea of not only who to pair it to, but also how well and how thought out that breeder and how much trouble they've gone through to ensure that that is the highest quality possible animal that they can get. Like, it shows a lot more in the lineage than just saying a name. Being able to show it really, really helps the breeder as well. Like, if you can show it, like, it helps them. So I can't see why they wouldn't want to help you with, like, lineage and stuff like that. But you do get the odd person that just has no regard for lineage, and it does put me off. It does put me off buying. I don't know whether it puts you guys off buying, but
yeah, it definitely does. Yeah.
Especially if they're very dodgy, you know. Can't show you any parent pictures, or the parent pictures are like in really dodgy, like, cell phone pics, you know, really dark. I get the odd cell phone pic, but like, if it looks like it's been thrown in a cave, I'm concerned.
Yeah,
that's what I'm gonna say. Very concerned.
False.
I also keep looking at the incubator as well. Just
oh yeah, you've got your false chameleon, haven't you?
Oh, my little fatty. Oh, I love her. So I recently got technically 2 dream species the other day. I was very, very lucky. Like, I have wanted these species since I sort of first got into the hobby. They were sort of a species I sort of brushed past and was like, you know what, I actually really love those. And they have always been top of my list, those 2, to be something that just to own, not even to breed, like, just to own. Like, for instance, like San, my Sunderberg, I like day gecko. Like, I didn't get her with the intention to breed. I thought she was cool. Okay, I was like, she's cool. I want her. Even now, I probably won't end up pairing her. It's just not something that, you know, if you don't feel that you're super into it, you know that it's probably not something you should do. Like, that's why I sort of like base it off of. If I'm not super like, woo, let's do it, I won't end up doing it, because it's just not for the best. But the 2 dream species I ended up getting was a lovely false chameleon from Jane. Really, really got to thank Jane for letting me have my little Kaida. I wish I could hold her here and show you guys, but she's upstairs. She is absolutely great. Like, anyone that doesn't have a false chameleon needs a false chameleon. I'm talking to you, Helen. Get a false chameleon. You need a false one. They are such characters. They are honestly hilarious to watch, fun to handle, fun to interact with. They're just all round just a great species. Very, very underrated species as well. They are very, very great.
So are they not as grumpy as, you know, your standard chameleon, or are they?
They do have their grumpy spurts. I will say, my Kaida has been very sassy. She does like to get very sassy and show that nice beard that she has going on. It is normally because I'm trying to feed her. She doesn't like to get very sassy towards food, and then she's like, "Oh, it's food. Okay, hi." When I first got her, every single time I opened the cage door, like literally every single time, she would hop onto the closest branch, hop onto my leg, and then just run and sit on my shoulder the whole entire time. Wouldn't move from there. Tried to do it to me every single time, did it to my boyfriend every time he opened the door. Just kept just wanting to sit on shoulders and just look. Just sit and watch everything with her little eyes. That really freaked out my boyfriend when he first saw them. he was putting stuff in the enclosure and one of her eyes just darted backwards, and he freaked him out because my boyfriend doesn't come from a pet background, and it really freaked him out. And honestly, he screamed like a girl, and it was beautiful, and I love it. It was great. But yeah, that really freaked him out. But now he loves Kaida, which is good. He's a very helpful person. And then obviously the other absolute dream species I got was my Halmahera geckos, which was amazing. I actually managed to get a pair, which I wasn't going for in the first place. I was actually just looking for a baby to raise up. But when I got the opportunity to take this pair, I was like, I'm taking it right now. Like, I'm having it. I don't care. I'm taking them right now. It will make me poor, but I don't care. I will take them. I just need them. I kept passing up the opportunity to get one because I was like, it's not the right time. Like, you know, when you just keep faffing in your own head, that's me. So I managed to actually get a pair. They've never produced eggs before, but to be honest, I don't really care. Like, they're just great. They are chunky, wrinkly, little sausages. Most entertaining things to watch at night. They are great. Okay, if you don't have a Halmahera gecko, get one. Okay, that's all I'm gonna say. Get one. Buy 7. I don't care. You need one. They are hilarious. Like, you probably won't see them during the day. Like, I don't see my pair that often during the day. Sometimes I see them at the back, but that's about it. They're quite a little bit shy. During the night, they come right to the front of the cage and just do that whole like look with their feet on the glass and their nose like stuck to the glass, like giving you proper angry eyes. They are honestly hilarious little things, especially the female. She is great. My Halmahera's honestly top quality. Get one.
I always with the butterflies, I find them super interesting, don't I? They're just so cool. Honestly, you'd love them. Wait till you meet them, because honestly, they dig the burrows together and take it in turns. It's so cute.
So cute.
And when they come out of the burrow, say if the male's been down there, the female will keep watch at the top, and when he's digging, he'll come and push it out, won't he, with his 2 front feet?
Yeah.
So, you know, like, and then keep watching, then he'll come out and she'll go down and do a bit of digging. So they take it into, it's so cute.
Oh, that is the sweetest thing I've ever heard.
It's amazing. And the cool thing about them actually is they bed down between 2 and 3 in the afternoon. You don't see them then until early morning, you know, when the UV comes on. But they actually block the doorway each time they go to bed.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
And sometimes they can do that in the wild. They do it in the height of the day with when it was at its hottest point. But when they bed down, they block all the doorways to the nest until the morning, and then they'll reopen them, dig them out and push them out. It's really cute.
That's so cool though.
It is, honestly.
You have to watch that in captivity.
Yeah, it's amazing to watch how they interact with each other. Like when they eat together from the same bowl. It's lovely. It's really nice, isn't it? Been watching them.
It's nice when you've got a communal species, because most of the more common reptiles are supposed to be kept
solitary
in their own solitary world. So you don't get to, like, I know they say Leos live in loose colonies, but in my personal opinion, you can't provide a loose enough environment for them.
Yeah, you not enough space.
Everything, and that includes heat sources, because if you've only got one heat source, they're always going to compete.
Yeah.
So when you have a genuine like communal species, and you actually get to see how they interact and how they behave around each other, it's a fascinating thing to watch. Like, it is real. Like, I can go in there and be like, oh, he's doing this and she's doing that. So we thought she'd laid eggs because obviously she got a bit chunky, like they typically do, and then she went back to a normal size. But they've got this thing of one goes down during the day whilst the other one stays up, and they swap, they alternate. So it's like the garden something. And obviously we want to keep it as natural as we can.
Because in the wild, there can be families of up to, say, 15 to 20 pairs, but they will all house an individual burrow. Even though they're all around the same section of land, they will all be in bonded pairs. And then what happens is if they do have eggs and they do have babies, the babies will stay with the mum and dad for a little bit. You see them with them on the back and stuff, like coming out the burrows and going back in. But it is quite cool. I want to set a webcam up in there, to be honest, and then like everyone else can watch if they're interested, because I do find them really, really entertaining, aren't they?
I definitely watch 100%. That is so,
because of all the years of observing behaviors, I find it really interesting to finally see, not like a rare species really, because I don't know of anyone else that have got the giants in the UK at the moment. There probably is, but I don't personally know of who that is. But it's nice to be able to study something different, really. Something that I didn't think I'd ever have, actually. So when the opportunity came up, I sort of snapped her hand off, really.
Yeah. It's like me with the Hamios. I was like, give them to me.
I think we're all guilty of that, really.
Yeah. Honestly. Especially when it comes to like dream species and like species you didn't think you were going to be able to keep. Like
the other one that I really want is the the Spider-Man agama. So
yes!
They're so rare.
The only downfall with getting them is you don't get them as bright in captivity. You can't get them.
Because of what they eat. Yeah,
you can't get them like with the dart frogs and stuff.
Yeah, because
they are
in the wild,
what they eat.
Yeah, because in captivity they're not actually poisonous because of what because they don't eat anything that has poison in it, really.
That's still a fact that freaks out all my non-reptile friends.
Yeah.
This is kind of funny because you'd like, to us that's like just like common knowledge. I find it very interesting interacting with people that aren't into reptiles or aren't into mammals and stuff, is that saying something that you think is really casual and then them going, wait, what? And then you're like, oh yeah, you don't understand what I'm talking about, and you have to like explain.
Yeah,
I got crazy. So
I wear t-shirts with warnings usually.
Yeah, this person will talk about reptiles.
Why have I not thought of that before?
Yeah.
So that's such a good idea.
Here's a question for you then. So apart from lineage, what else would you say interests you the most? Do you know, like for instance, Nick is really heavy on the science behind lighting and stuff. Obviously, I really like genetics. And
the second Frances Baines posts anything, I'm like, oh, what's she saying now? What's she saying now? Everything. Like,
you can smell her going to post,
like literally, I'll have to read it 4 or 5 times just to understand it, because she's like, when she talks about something, she goes in depth, so you have to like kind of read it to grasp what she's saying. But I'm like, oh, well, Frances has said this and Frances has said that.
That is great though. See, I do love listening. Like, you guys are always going on about like your sciencey stuff and all your really fancy cool wish I was intelligent stuff. Like, and I just love it. Like, I could listen to you guys, or whoever go on about the technicalities behind things. I love it. I used to watch How It's Made all the time. Like, I love it. I love finding out how things work, and anything that boosts knowledge about something that I keep, win-win to me. Like, I don't see anything wrong with that. So I do love listening about all the stuff to do with UVB, listening to what's new. I love finding what people think is something new. So like, say for instance, better UVB, what's a better percentage, what's a better heat bulb and stuff like that. I love hearing people's opinions on stuff and like what's worked for them, because I know a lot of people in the reptile community like to jump down throats if they do something different, and I'm really not like that. I prefer to like hear their side of the story.
Yeah.
And it's like, because obviously not everyone's an expert. There's no such thing as an expert, regardless of what anyone says. I'm sorry, anyone that says they are an expert, probably not the best person to be talking to.
No.
So Yeah, but I don't think anyone's an expert, and I think you're always learning. And if someone comes up to me and tells me something and that doesn't work for me, I'll be like, look, that doesn't work for me, but this is what works for me. You could give that a try, and I'll maybe give what you've said another try. I'm all about trying new things, learning new things, listening to people, stuff like that. As long as people are nice about it,
I agree.
all day long. If you're going to be, rude and talk down to someone and give it the old, I've been here longer, all that sort of mumbo jumbo, then I'm not going to listen to you, and I don't think anyone else is. That's a lot of why you get a lot of people going, I'm not listening to you and you're wrong, or deleting their posts and things like that, because you're coming at them in the wrong way. If you talk and explain and things like that, you get somewhere.
I think personally that you don't, like I said, you don't have to have an agenda that you push down people's throats. So for instance,
exactly,
when I do my UVB racks, yes, I am trying to show that they can be more than functional, a racking system that's just basic. But, I'm not saying you have to upgrade to UVB. I guess I'm just trying to put it out there that it's an option. And
exactly, you're giving it an opportunity to be picked. You're not telling people, look, if you're not doing this, you're a terrible person. Like, exactly. That's not what you're saying to someone.
So I think it's good, actually, because all three of us are pretty much on the same page with husbandry and everything else. And that's why I made the Reptile Intelligence UK group, because I think it's important that people should have a place to go that isn't judgmental and isn't going to persecute you for doing, using different options kind of thing.
I think one of the main problems within the hobby, like regardless of what species you keep, you breed, whatever, is ego. And then they hear something. So they'll hear something, but they will take it as fact. So for example, DHP, it's a brand new way to heat like halogen, but it's not a halogen. Obviously, it doesn't emit massive. It emits a very, very, very small amount of light. That is like less than what the moon would. But because people have seen, DHP is the best, they're now plugging it as, no, you shouldn't have a halogen. Like a few times I've seen people recommend to Leo keepers, don't use a halogen or incandescent, use the DHP, because that's the most naturalistic. It's not, this is the only one that'll replicate the sun, when it's not. It's actually the halogen / incandescent. That's the closest we're ever going to get to the sun, other than putting the animal in the sun. So I think that's like ego, because people genuinely believe it's their way or no way, or they don't want to they don't want to listen to people, so they don't want it bruised. So it doesn't matter what you say to them, they're going to be offended about it because they know best. And then obviously the myth of you hear it once, misconstrued, and then that becomes fact then in your world. And it's all about opening up a narrative of, look, nobody's 100% right. There's not enough money, and there's not enough funding, and there's not enough studies gone into these animals we've been keeping. Exactly. Not 100%, because there just isn't. I mean, like the Cresty was thought to be extinct up until
exactly.
Yeah. So you know what I mean? Like there's no.
I think the main thing is you don't necessarily have to go out and upgrade immediately, but it'd be beneficial if people was just willing to listen to what options there was. Just willing to learn, really. It doesn't necessarily mean you have to do this, but it's a start, to try and be able to share experiences. Yeah.
If they have the information, they can then
make their own choice
and decide. Yeah, exactly. Make their own choice. It's like the whole tubs versus tank thing with Cresties and Leos and pretty much anything, to be fair. It's like some people are really, really, really hella against tubs. Some people are just don't care for tanks. Like there's probably thousands of people that refuse to use tubs. There's probably 1,000 people that refuse to use tanks. There's people that don't really care. Like I use both, for instance. I used to keep all of mine in tubs. I had no issue with anything really in tubs. I just didn't like the look of them in the end. I just was like, no, don't really like this. So I ended up changing to tanks. Yes, it's very expensive, I won't lie. Sourcing them secondhand down here, impossible. But I prefer the look of tanks. But that doesn't mean that anyone that uses tubs for their adults or babies or whatever, I'm going to look at them and go, you're wrong, you're doing it wrong. Like you don't care for your animals, you hate them. Like that's not that's not how the world works, unfortunately, but a lot of people believe it like it does. A lot of people think because tubs aren't the standard thing that are sold in pets at home, that's wrong, which is unfortunately not the case. Tubs are something that we realised, are really handy, really useful. Quarantine, for instance, for babies to make sure that they're okay for the first God knows however long, There's so many uses for both tanks and tubs. And there's always going to be the argument of like tanks are more too expensive if you have loads of geckos and all that stuff. But then it's like, you have to think about that. But are you going to do tubs the right way?
Yeah. Well, that's it. Yeah, I was going to say that because obviously that we made a 6 tub rack with UV and everything, but
tubs the right way.
Yeah, because to be honest, I'll probably be posting a video of that soon because I've just got the last 2 UVs to incorporate into it, so it's complete now, which is amazing. But yeah, we I know it's cool because we decided to use substrate in all the plants that you should use, lots of hides, that kind of thing. So yeah, to pick up on your point of doing tubs correctly, then yeah, I agree, because it's the same with racks. I mean, there's racks that you have very little enrichment in, and then there's racks where people have made an effort to put some plants in, I guess, and some hides. So I guess it's personal preference, but I'd prefer to add something in there for them, if they are in tubs.
Like, so it just makes it more natural, doesn't it? Like, the whole point of captivity is to keep it as natural as possible. So, and obviously, better the species, all that fun stuff that some people just completely bypass. But yeah, I used to use tubs. I have the same tubs that you're using. I don't have them in use right now, but I do have them, and they are my backups.
Do you not find it annoying that they're wavy, or is that just me?
Very, very annoying. Very annoying. Trying to do anything with them is very, very. It just makes everything so much more.
Do you know what I had to do? I had to get some thin perspex plastic and hot glue gun it around the sides to, flat plastic.
Yeah.
And then I hot glue gunned it on the wavy inserts and put that on. And then I was able to use the sucker pads for everything then, on the actual flat plastic.
That's so smart.
Did I not tell you? I'm sure I... Oh, no. I told you to use silicone in the glass vivs, didn't I? Because you can peel it off when you need to.
Yeah.
But yeah, I had to get, very thin perspex.
Yeah.
That you can cut.
That's so smart.
Perspex can be very expensive, but keep an eye on B&Q, because anything that gets scratched or chipped a bit, you'll drop it down to a 5 or 3.
Yeah.
So it's like a haven for hobbyists and stuff.
But that is so annoying. I mean, who makes a wavy box? I mean, who designed a wavy box?
I mean,
even if literally, even if I didn't put Cresties in that box, it would annoy me, because you wouldn't really, who put waves in a box? I mean, you can't even put flat books against it because it's wavy.
So annoying. I use them for storage at the minute, like reptile storage in the side shed, and trying to fit anything with a straight edge gives me stress.
It's because honestly wasted space. Oh, actually, there is one pro, and that is if you use really thick pipe insulation to make lots of jumping places for them. It actually does fit in quite well to the wave, the wave that's pointing outwards.
That's what I used to use all the time, because it was the only thing I could find that ever actually would stay. Like when I got Fudge Cake was a rehome, and I had him in there while I was waiting for all my tanks to get delivered, and he loved that thing. He loved it. He's very nervous, but I guess he loved it. As far as I'm concerned, at least I'm going to tell myself that. He was great, but it was so difficult to find anything that would stay in there or make it look like it was full. It was mental. The amount of sticks that I could fit in there was just nuts. Absolutely nuts.
That's the only good thing about it, and that is it.
Is the size and the fact that you can fit so much stuff. But I just kept putting sticks in. I thought it was like Mary Poppins' bag. It just kept going. I ended up running completely out of sticks. And I was like, Gonna have to get some more now.
But it's just a nightmare for like sucker pads unless you
can't stick anything to the sides. I resorted to putting like drill holes in the side for more ventilation and just poking all the fake plants through it and then just tying them on the side.
Yeah, that isn't too bad.
That's literally all I could do. Luckily it was only temporary, but literally that was all I could do to try and like fix. I couldn't get the suction cups to stick no matter what I did.
It's really annoying.
Very stressful. Okay. Should we do some questions?
Yeah, I was just going to ask you, do you want to read some questions out?
We have some very good questions. Okay. So the first one is where are we from?
Ooh.
Okay.
So I'm from St Helens and you are from Liverpool, but mainly, yeah, we're both from here now, St Helens.
The northwest, but different parts of the northwest that sit next to each other. All my family come from the same place as you, so I'm like half and half.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
that's mental. That's cool though, because you guys have such cool accents compared to me. Like I just sound boring. Like there is no. I'm sorry, I don't care. Sorry, Eastbourne people, but none of us sound good. Okay, we're just like this. We're just the base plate for every other like very much better. Like I was born and bred here. Like Eastbourne has just been where I've been. Like I've been in this house for like 18 years, and I've never been anywhere else. And this is me. Just good old Eastbourne on the seafront. I don't actually live that close to the seafront. I guess some people would class it as close. I don't know. I guess I'm kind of close to the seafront. I can't see I was gonna say I can see the sea, but then I was like, that's the sky.
She's definitely like me.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's where I'm from, Eastbourne. We're all from the UK. I did have a couple of people from the good old America that did ask if we were UK only and only UK people could join. That's not the case.
No.
No matter where you're from, as long as you have a good old bit of internet, Wi-Fi, you can join if you are interested in being a guest or anything like that. So don't panic. Everyone's involved.
Yeah.
Right. Next question. We've already pretty much answered what reptiles we have. We pretty much already answered that.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I did. I can't remember half the things I say most of the time. all the time.
My life on the daily.
My existence on the daily. So good old Black Hole Exotics. They asked 2 questions. Aaron's getting in with the questions. Is the podcast primarily for geckos, or is it other reptiles, inverts, and amphibians?
Yes, it's for everything really. I'd like to cover every type of exotic that we can, or that we've got some knowledge on, but we know quite a bit about amphibians too, don't we?
Yeah.
And inverts, obviously all 3 of us have kept.
I miss
a wide. I know, yeah. I miss keeping some mantises as well. I've not got any of them at the moment. Yeah, I guess it'll be a wide variety, really.
I do like me inverts and stuff. And
my sticky boy.
Yeah, I will steal some of Stacey's Pachnoda just to turn into some beetles.
Yeah, she does do that. Yeah.
Sticky boy. Literally. She lives. I have this like bucket thing that my boyfriend bought me, and it had like plants and stuff in. But I took it out and put loads of Transcantia in and stuff like that. And she just literally lives in that bucket. Like there's ivy and stuff in there. She just munches and crunches. That's literally where she lives. Like she just stays there.
Yeah, living.
She has that whole entire plant. She wanders all around it. One time she did move over onto my monstera and eat it. Yeah, didn't you? Yeah, you did. Yeah, you wave your little arms. Party. You want to come over here? That's fine. You can do that. But yeah, she just lives over there because I wanted to get like one of those cool acrylic enclosures for her.
Oh yeah.
But I just thought giving her the whole entire windowsill with loads of different types of plants was just better.
I just
thought that was like a better option. She's never gone anywhere. She never leaves the windowsill. I've been quite lucky, to be fair. During the night, I do pop her in her little temporary tub overnight because I do worry about her getting lost. But other than that, she has a whole entire day, all day long. eating all you want, isn't it? Yeah.
We used to get really big tubs from IKEA, didn't we?
Yes.
And then get, like really fine, what was they? Are they voiles? Yeah. Like curtain voiles, like really fine net. Cut a piece big enough for over the top, and then get like huge elastic bands, and put it over so that the entirety of the top of the tub was just netting for, because we found that mainly with the orchids, to be honest, they are really bad at shedding if they don't have net.
Oh my god, yes.
Like, honest to God. So we found that was perfect, for the orchids especially, but we still make the glass jars, sort of naturalistic with use a mix of spider life, didn't we? With lots of twigs and all that kind of thing, and lots of foliage.
Yeah, just like throw loads of fun things in. What we perceive as fun for a stick insect, I guess.
Yeah, I know, yeah.
But right, so next question. That was a very good, I actually quite like that question. His next question was, what guests are you thinking of adding to the podcast?
Okay, so I definitely know Welsh Morphology wants to come on, and she's been in the hobby a long while, got a massive amount of species up her sleeve, and
she really cares about them as well, though, so she's got a lot of empathy for her animals.
I really miss keeping. She has Berber skinks.
She does.
She's got a huge variety of obviously reptiles, but then at the same time she's a massive photographer.
Yeah.
So it'd be nice
photos.
Her photos are out of this
world. I know.
What?
I tell you, I
don't know.
I'm so envious of her photography, because I do photography, don't I? I feel like it grounds me and it's something that I enjoy. But her photographs are just amazing. It's something to aspire to, I guess, isn't it, really?
Her macro shots, especially when she's got things like the Leo teeth.
All the teeth shots and the eyes as well.
And the cresty, we know them as hairs, don't we, on the little flaps and stuff like
their little toe beans.
Yeah, the detail she manages to capture in her shots
will hopefully be bringing on quite a variety of different breeders as well.
Yeah.
And also, it'd be interesting I asked Caitlin, would she join us at, one time? She's Leopard Geckos London, and she's actually got an AAL.
That's not
so, well, it'd be really
close.
It'd be really interesting to get her on, because obviously she has a different perspective of everything because she's got an AAL. So it'd be interesting to have a conversation around that.
Then obviously there's Damien, and he works in a reptile shop as supervisor, doesn't he?
Yeah.
So they've got their own AAL, but it's completely different to a hobbyist having one. So you've got
that would be quite interesting to see the different versions
of both. I'd be like, there's a few breeders I do believe should have AALs. I just do. Like, they should have AALs the way.
Yeah, when it starts getting to in the hundreds type thing.
But at the same time, I think it's a very sticky thing, because
it's a very fine line.
It discriminates against the small ones who are genuinely just doing it for a hobby and stuff. So it's a fine line, but I can see the pros, but I can see the cons as well.
Yeah.
So
you get excluded from stuff. So it's going to be a nice comparison to see the shop side of it and then the hobbyist side of.
Maybe we could get them on for one
together.
Time.
That's what I was thinking. It'd be quite a cool.
See, none of us do have one, and they have two different, versions of one. Be good to see like kind of the different perspectives of it.
That's the thing though with it. They fall under the same umbrella, even though they're two different ends of the spectrum. So they obviously he does it for the business, whereas she's classed as a hobby, but as a business at the same time, because you to be classed as a business, you have to have the AAL. So it's like, do you know what I mean? So
it's a weird title, isn't it?
Like a weird grey area.
I do think we'll have a wide variety of guests, and sometimes there'll be obviously just podcasts where it's us three and we're discussing, different aspects of husbandry across maybe one species on that particular podcast, or multiple on a different
project.
So I think it's cool, and then it'd be interesting to have obviously newer breeders and maybe older breeders, and get a feel for everything really. There's no judgment. It's just going to be
nice to see different opinions, especially with the older breeders, to sort of see what it was like when they started, and then compare it to how new breeders and what it's like when they started, and see how things changed.
The older breeders, there wasn't as much variety as when these newer breeders were coming in, so there wasn't a vast majority of like morphs, and everything that was coming out was all fresh and new, whereas now it's kind of all, you've got to work at making it your own, whereas back then, because say for like the Leo,
anything was exciting.
Yeah, that's true.
So you got the likes of like Phantom Dragons, who are literally just a pillar of the dragon community. Like most of what we've got now, you can guarantee was
they created most of
what we've got now as dragons. Literally stemmed from Phantom, and they're like a pillar. So to them, everything was fresh and new. To us, it's kind of classed as normal.
Yeah.
So the Zero, although it's not a very strong gene, it's been around a few years. She did what she did, and
crazy stuff.
Yeah.
That was a good question. I like that one.
Yeah.
Right, we have 2 more questions left. Right, this one's from Michaela. Michaela came up with quite a good question. She said, "What is the stupidest thing you have watched a gecko do?" So we do that as like all reptiles, instead of just geckos. Like,
do we have to keep this? We're keeping this PG, aren't we? Because
yes.
Okay. Right.
This is a family.
Yes, you told us we had to.
Right. Parents, if you're listening, please tune out now for 10 minutes.
Now.
Oh gosh. I think, does it have to? Well, I think Iridessa really, because I don't know, she got herself stuck, didn't she? She literally hung off a ledge with both her back legs. No, it was a tail, weren't it? I've got a photograph. She literally hung off the tallest shelf you could find with just a tail, and she was just sat there looking really annoyed.
Elsa,
do you know, like, until I found her.
She's just so angry.
She looked really. I think she'd actually fell asleep that angry, because they flatten their eye, the crowns over their eyes.
I don't know what it is about Cresties, so that you're like, you want to poke them, are you dead? But are you really angry?
Yeah.
What is
you
it?
Still alive?
And then it just
are you gonna eat me if I do this?
I don't know. We've had that many silly things, really.
When you customize those vibs for the Leos, and you put all the shelves in and that, and you have them just walking off the side, Woo!
Yeah, just like
it's Luna, wasn't it? But with him,
you got branches and angles to walk down.
Yeah.
And you just walk off the side, and like they look at you as if it's your fault. And it's like, no, I've got spatial awareness. Where's yours? Like,
literally, when we had. Do you remember when we had that little rehome Leo here?
Oh yes, yeah,
a while ago. Yeah, she was like that. Literally just walking off, even if there was nothing there. She was like, "Yep, we're going," and I was like, "Oh, they're gonna die. She's gonna die. Like, if she's not there, she's gonna die. Like, you have to fully watch. You can't leave no doors open for 5 seconds, otherwise she's just gonna be like, "Yep."
We have got one Leo, haven't we? Ivory. She's been on more holidays than me this year.
I don't know how she does it.
I don't like. She manages to escape everything. Vivs. Rubs.
Yeah.
She literally
anything and everything. Lockbox.
The most recent time, she just comes strolling out from behind the stack of bearded dragon vivs because there was a cricket around, and I was like, "There she is."
She's just got an adventure.
Yeah, people underestimate the actual ability for an animal to, like a reptile especially, to escape. Like if they even slither, and they're like, right, I can get that. That's fine. I can do that.
Yeah, they'll do that, and then they keep doing it and doing it and doing it.
Luckily, obviously, our reptile room's confined, but I kid you not, she must have had at least 9 holidays in about a year.
Yeah.
She's like, I'm done with yours. I'm done with this.
And like, I even put locks on and blooming catches and everything, and I still have to shout, Nick.
She's escaped again. He's got 5 ether this time.
So what's yours then?
Mine, I've had some quite unique geckos, but it has to be Spitfire, doesn't it, as our weirdest gecko?
Oh, she's like a stick insect, isn't she?
Yeah, Spitfire likes to pretend that she's a stick, where you can literally, and sometimes I think she's dead as well, because like she feels really stiff, and you can, like, she'll be on a log. She loves to sit on her log in the front, and you can literally lift her up, and she will stay in the exact same position, and just That's it. And you can move her all around and she will not flinch. Her eyes won't move, nothing. It doesn't even look like she's breathing half the time. She'll just be like this. And you can put her down and she'll stay in the same position the whole time. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, when you're least expecting it, then she'll be like, oh my God, you've picked me up. Where am I? And then we'll just stop. And it's mental. And you can literally like pick her up sometimes and she'll just like lay in your hand, like upside down. Like we have that picture of her just in.
You used to do that, didn't it?
Like carrying her around. She just doesn't move. She's like one of the chillest geckos ever. Like she just doesn't care for anything. Because I always check their breathing. That is like a big thing. Because I'm like,
Yes,
I can't actually tell whether you're okay, like visually. So I'm always like, are you breathing really heavy? And no, she'd be chill as anything. Just doesn't care. Like, hi. Sometimes she holds her own hand as well, like a little old lady. Sometimes she's
I think it's worse with Cresties because they don't blink. At least with a Leo, they will move their eyes. They
it freaks me out.
You've got to wait for the bubble of the throat. Like, is it?
Yeah. It was like the other day, we thought Lemon Cake was dead, right? That sounds really bad, but like we genuinely did, right? She was laying on her lay box, right? But she was so flat. And I have this really bad paranoia about animals like being dead. I don't know why, but I have like this really bad thing where I like will literally check every gecko visually in the morning to make sure that like they're dead. And I thought she was, and I couldn't see her breathing. Like she wasn't moving. She obviously wasn't blinking. And I literally got a pen and was like, oh my God, is she dead? And I was like, and she still didn't move. And I was like, I was so close to tears. I was like, I'm done. I'm quitting. I'm not doing it anymore. And then all of a sudden, I shut her door, and then she's like, are you bringing me food? Over there? Hello? Come back. And I was like, I'm like on the floor, like, are you serious? And like, I just honestly, geckos playing dead with me is just, it doesn't mix. Okay, I cry so easily. Right, are you ready for our last question? I saved this one for last. I thought it was quite a good one, quite an interesting one, because I don't know what my answer is yet, and I've seen this question for like over an hour. Okay, so Reptile Vault asked, if space was not an issue and like no money was an issue or anything like that, and you could keep any animal you want, like any animal at all, it doesn't have to be reptile, like any animal, what would it be?
I can tell you Stacey's straight up now. She's going to say giraffe. She would have heard of giraffes.
Excuse me. I would say a giraffe.
Oh my God, I didn't know that. That's right, giraffes are great.
I just love them. They're just amazing. I've even
love
got
the way that they
tattoos of
eat
them.
on the floor.
Yeah.
Just legs spread, it's great.
They're just awesome. What about yours?
Me? Now you've stumped me. Can't even hours to think about it. And I've had, 3 seconds?
Too busy thinking about Stacey's answer.
Actually, can I just come back and give you something else that I would also have? A megalodon, but obviously they're well, actually, yes! I'm not even going to get into that conversation because I still don't believe they're extinct, and that would be a rather
Neither do I.
The witching hour conspiracies with Stacey. Megalodon.
We could do an episode on
honestly,
that sort of stuff.
Literally still believe that there is a megalodon for plenty reasons, but I'll not get into it.
100%, I agree. 100%, I agree. There's still some somewhere.
So if I could have something, I would have also a megalodon.
That would be a big
megalodon. A megalodon. I don't know, what would mine be?
I don't know, a burgersaurus, I think.
Yeah, I love food.
Just poops out burgers.
Yeah.
There is actually a book about that, but that's another story.
The World of Children?
Yeah, The World of Children.
I don't know. I'd actually love, I would actually enjoy some alpacas.
I love alpacas!
Yes, I love alpacas.
Would you enjoy mucking them out?
Yeah, I wouldn't even be bothered, me.
Because I would not be helping with that.
Oh, I wouldn't mind doing that.
I used to run a horse. I used to be like the manager of a horse rescue, so I'll help.
Yeah, there we go.
I used to muck out like 200 stables a time.
Oh no, it's the smell. Mind you, you can't really get worse than a bearded dragon poo.
No.
They literally rot your wallpaper.
Or the Komodo dragon. There we go. Komodo dragon as well. Go down
Imagine
to
having an
alpaca
alpaca herd and like being a dragon next to each other. The warning calls those alpacas would like scream would just be great.
We used to have alpacas near us, didn't we? You could go and
yes,
feed them and clean them out if you wanted.
Yeah.
And then they sold up, didn't they, to someone else? I don't know if they do it now.
That's so cool. We have like those alpaca trekking things near us, but one of the best places closed down this year. So sad. I didn't get a chance to go there. It was very annoying. I was very upset.
Pretty sure I have a memory from uni. The dude got proper hoofed in his
PG.
in his PG area, right? By an alpaca.
Oh, no.
I had to walk behind it and you just heard woof.
Oh.
Yeah. Pretty sure he did.
So have you thought about what you'd...
Mine would either be a capybara, because I love guinea pigs. Like,
they are quite cute.
The other side of this wall. And I love my guinea pigs. I can't live without guinea pigs. I have some weird obsession with guinea pigs. And they are a giant guinea pig. Water guinea pig. It's like Vulpix being like the Alolan version. And like, I don't know what capybara would probably be. I guess it'd be a fire type.
I think it probably would be a fire Pokemon, actually. Because that was the last question, I think we'll wrap it up there. Thanks to everyone who has listened to the intro episode, and a really big thank you to everyone who's already shown us their support. We really appreciate it. We're also currently putting together a podcast schedule, just so you know what to expect across that particular month. Hopefully we'll have one available as well for the coming months very soon. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram and YouTube, and if you'd like to follow our individual reptile-related pages, they are Lily Rose Reptiles and Donna Time Exotics. You can also find those across most social media platforms. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.